Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to Sunday morning and the old cookbook show. Today we're going to do a recipe out of one of Mrs. Beaton's cookbooks. Undated, based on sort of the drawings and the pictures inside. I'd say sometime in the 1920s, maybe the late 19s, in the teens, somewhere in there. I don't know why these books are undated. I mean, it just makes it so difficult. But yet so many of these old cookbooks are undated, and especially the ephemera. And I kind of get the ephemera. The ephemera was never meant to be kept. It was advertising bump. It's handed out, tiny little pamphlets, meant to be used, abused, and then used in the cook stove to light the fire to continue cooking once you get the new one that came out, a month later. These cookbooks, though, were meant to be held on to a little bit longer, but undated, and I really don't know why. Date your book. If you ever write a cookbook, make sure you put the date in the front. Okay, so we're going to do something called ham ramekins, and I've chosen this simply because I had a little ham for this puree de tomate, which would have come out last week or the week before, maybe. So I had some ham left. I thought, let's do this. I don't do many breakfast dishes. Let's give it a shot. So I need one egg. And we're going to separate it. So the whites go in the copper bowl, which means, guess what? There's a meringue coming our way. White into the copper bowl. And the yolk into this mixing jug. Okay, next in, some chopped up ham, finely chopped. Powdered mixed herbs, pepper, and salt to taste, a couple tablespoons of milk, and then made mustard. And of course, you have to use English made mustard. This is Keen's Moutarde Forte. What does it say? It actually gives a very specific measurement. Half a small mustard spoonful. So you all, of course, in your kitchen have a mustard spoon. I do. I just wasn't going to dig for it. And I looked at how much is in a half a small mustard spoon, and that's not enough mustard for me. One of the things about the recipes in this cookbook are that they are very sparse. Very sparse in the ingredients, which ingredients they use, and the quantities. For something like this, if this recipe came up today in a magazine or a website, it would be 4 times as large. And it would still fit into these ramekins. Somehow I'm supposed to split this between 4 ramekins and make 4 breakfasts out of it. And I'm kind of positive that today it would probably only be 1 ramekin. One person would eat that for breakfast rather than 4. And I'm going to say the ramekins I'm using are probably too big even. They're probably twice the size that they need to be. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I'm not going to get 4. I'm not going to get 4. My ramekins are just the wrong size. So since there's just Julie and I here, I'm going to split it between 2 ramekins. Yeah, in order to split this between the 4 ramekins would just be, they'd have to be half the size of the ramekins that I have here. And I probably have ramekins half that size. Oh, it doesn't say what size they are. I probably do, down in the basement, have half-size ramekins. I would just need to find them. So it tells me to bake until set. I've got the oven at 350. That's not going to take long at all. Okay, while that's in the oven, we'll whip the egg white. Okay, so 1 egg white really isn't that much to work with. It's kind of hard. I would suggest that if you're going to make this, quadruple it at least. 4 eggs. 4 eggs for most families would be great. So pinch of salt, because that's what it asks for. Okay, those look set to me. Now we put the meringue on top. And back into the oven to brown. And I've turned the heat up to get a little bit of browning on the meringue.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friends.
Okay.
Ooh, it's like an omelet with a little egg on top. Is it an omelet underneath?
Well, it's a ham ramekin.
A ham ram. I don't know.
It's like
a ham ramakin.
Ham
Got
ramekin.
it. Ham ramakin.
It's going to be hot.
Okay. I don't know what to.
So it is ham, egg yolk, a little bit of spice, milk, and mustard.
Ooh, mustard.
And you bake that, and then you whip up the egg white and you put it on top.
You're clearly more skilled at this. I'm just going to set mine right down there. Just use the.
And so it is a, it's a breakfast thing.
Ooh, it's steamy though, so it's going to be. I did a terrible job taking mine out of the container. I've spilled. I've made a mess. Feel like it needs a little bit of cooling. That's a lot of steam coming off of that.
That's a big bite, Jules.
I know. Well, it kind of ripped off the top. I kind of took the whole top off the... Smells really good.
Mm-hmm. I might have oversalted it. Might have put a little too much salt in. It's good.
I like all the other flavors, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little too much salt, but, all the other flavors kind of
Okay, so I
are
cheated.
really good.
I cheated.
There you go.
And I used Clubhouse Italiano.
That works.
As the spice mix. And it works really well, doesn't it?
And you added mustard as well, then?
Yeah, the hot mustard. The
Okay.
Keen's hot mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is a winner. Now, 1920s, this was meant for 4 people. I was supposed to get 4 ramekins of this.
Tinier ramekin?
Tinier ramekins and 4 portions. I imagine you're eating it with toast. You might have had kippers with it, because, kippers on that page. You might have had haddock with it. Or, my favorite on this page, actually, is kidney toast. So
If you haven't watched him eating kidney, feel free to
So if you
look for
haven't,
that.
this is great. And this could also, if you made it with a dozen eggs, put it into a casserole, and then pipe the meringue into the individual spots so that you could just cut it up later and put it out on a buffet. I think this would be great.
Little fried tomato with it? Yep.
Okay.
Approval.
Mrs. Beaton.
All around.
Mrs.
Thanks,
Beaton, this is a winner. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Thank you, everyone, for making it to the end of the video and for hanging on to watch this next bit. As in past years, in 2026, I will again be raising money for Hope Air. Hope Air is a charity here in Canada that connects people in need of medical care or medical treatments with transportation to get from where they live to where the treatment is available. In Canada, healthcare is universal. Healthcare is freely given to anyone who steps up and says, I need treatment or I need care. The problem exists in the way, the sheer size of Canada's geography and the way our population is distributed. There are some people who live in areas that are underserved by healthcare. And they need to travel to the larger centers, be it Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Winnipeg, Montreal, Halifax, or St. John's. There are people who live in Canada's north or in more remote areas where getting to one of those centers to get treatment, be it cancer treatment or ongoing operations for some other health concern, getting to those centers is incredibly difficult, incredibly stressful, especially if it's a child that needs this health care. There are places in Canada where you could be driving 10 or 12 hours to access the treatments that you need. There are places in Canada where there is no road access. You may live in a town that is fly-in only. So what Hope Air does is utilize private pilots like myself who volunteer their time to fly to some of these locations, pick up people, and bring them to the treatment that they need. Or at least bring them to a larger center where they can get on a commercial flight, again, provided by Hope Air, to the city where the treatment is available. And for parents who are bringing their children for this type of health care, Hope Air also has partnerships with hotels where they can provide hotel stays for the parents during this, stressful time. For those of us that live in the big cities in Canada, this is something that we don't really think about. But there was a time where Julie and I lived in Northern Ontario, and we lived in towns and villages where, it was 3 hours just to drive to get to a grocery store, let alone drive somewhere where complex medical care could be given. And we were very cognizant of that when we lived there. I'm in the incredibly fortunate position that I can make a change, that you can help make a change. Last year, my viewers, you, donated $40,000 to Hope Air. That's an incredible amount of money. That really changed lives. That helped a lot of people. And I'm so thankful to you that you would open up and do that. It's absolutely incredible. And so for 2026, I'm hoping that we can do that again. In August of 2026, I will again be participating in Give Hope Wings, which is where a bunch of pilots like myself, we go out and we fly around and we raise awareness and we raise money and we sort of put a spotlight on the fact that this charity exists and this need exists and this gap needs to be filled. And so this summer we're going to the East Coast. Some of the highlights are Halifax, St. John's, Newfoundland, Goose Bay, Labrador. Then we're on to Rimouski and Trois-Rivières and ending up again in Sudbury. So I hope you'll come along with me over on the Flying Channel on that trip. Julie and I will be making it this year, and hopefully you will enjoy coming along with us. And if you can donate money to Hope Air, I thank you very much. I also understand that if you don't live in Canada, you may not feel a connection to this. I would hope that you you could find something in your community that you could help out with. I think that we really need to be a community of people that help each other. That's the only way through this, is to help each other and to give of our time to those that need it. So I thank you very much. So I will put all the links for Hope Air and everything they do in the description box below. Please check them out. And I thank you in advance for however you can help.